Hello everyone and welcome to Down to Earth Developments. My name is Lewis Knock and today, for my first ever episode, we are going to be talking about something that's close to home, something that I've been trying out for the past few weeks, and that is the Project 50. Today we're going to talk about what is Project 50, what are the individual steps and how will they affect you, and why you should take part in this challenge. So let's get started. We'll break it down for you. Project 50 is a daily set of routines, there are 7 of them in total, which you must complete every single day. And the catch is, if you don't complete one on a singular day, you have to restart the entire thing. So jumping straight in with rule number 1, the first thing that you're going to need to do every single day is wake up before 8 AM. Now, for those of you who already get up early, this won't be a challenge for you at all, but I know as someone who used to get up at 10 AM before starting this challenge a few weeks ago, it can be quite difficult, especially in the first few days while you get your circadian rhythm back in link with getting up sort of 3 or 4 hours earlier than you normally would. However, the benefits, I've definitely started seeing them after the first week or so. My productivity has been up, and I feel a lot more awake throughout the entire day, despite getting less sleep than I used to. Moving on to rule number 2, our second rule of the day is that you have to do a morning routine every single morning as soon as you wake up. Now, this morning routine has a couple of requirements. You will have to do at least 1 hour, so the morning routine has to last at least an hour from when you wake up to when you start doing other things. It has to be pre-planned, so you need to know what you're doing before you start. And the third thing is no phone. Now that is going to be a big one for a lot of people, not going on your phone in the morning. And I know for me personally, I've had to move my phone out of the bedroom, where I currently am. And when I sleep at night, I leave my phone in the living room, so it's not accessible to me in the morning. Because if you wake up and you turn on your phone, even to check your notifications or anything, that's it. You have to restart the project. From whatever day you're on, you restart. Now, the benefits of this one is it's going to let you get a lot done in the morning and focus on yourself for a brief period of time before you start worrying about everything else that's going on in your day. To give you guys an example of what you could expect in your morning routine, I'll let you know what I do, and I can tell you a little bit about the benefits that I've received from doing this so far. Now, my morning routine firstly consists of reading 10 pages of a book, which we will get back to in the next rule. I then follow up this reading with a shower. I brush my teeth. I mouthwash. I then leave the bathroom and I do my skincare routine, which is something that I've been developing over the past few months. And then after I've done my skincare, I sit down for a meditation somewhere in the region of 5 to 12 minutes long. And then once I've done my meditation, by that point, my hour is up and I start the day as usual. So when I wake up, I feel fresher and I don't feel drowsy like I normally would before when I was waking up late and just sort of going on my phone as soon as I got up. It also helps me be very present in the morning and spend the morning focusing on myself and making sure that I'm taking care of my body and taking care of my mind and my needs and setting off the day in a really good way. And that is why I think the morning routine element of this challenge is so important, and it's something that I'm going to keep up even after this challenge, because having that space in the morning has helped me so much just be more present and just feel better throughout the day. Moving on to rule number 3, I briefly mentioned this when I was talking about my morning routine, as I've incorporated it into my morning routine to get it out of the way, is that you're going to have to read 10 pages of a non-fiction book every single day. Now, I like this part of the challenge. Personally, I'm currently reading Jordan Peterson's second book, Beyond Order. So this is his follow-up book for the 12 Rules of Life, or the 12 Laws of Life, I can't quite remember the name. And it's a really interesting read. But the benefits you get from reading 10 pages every day is you get a small part of the day to work on yourself and to improve your knowledge about things that will help you in the real world feel stronger, feel smarter, be more confident, if you're reading psychology books that is, boost your self-esteem, or maybe even improve your finances. Waking up in the morning and reading my book first thing, it's a nice way to start the day. It's a little bit intellectually challenging, but it's a good introduction to the rest of my day. As being a student, I pretty much spend 5 or 6 hours a day just studying, because I've got exams coming up. I am a final year student, so they're quite important. But it's a nice way to learn something in the morning without having too much pressure on it. At least that's how it is for me. So, moving on to the 4th part of the project, what you're going to have to do every single day, once again, is you're going to have to do 1 hour of exercise per day. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to mean you go to the gym 7 days a week, because look at the research, doing 7 days a week at the gym is actually going to be bad for you. It's going to mean that your muscles can't recover properly and you're not going to end up being as strong as you could be. For me personally, I do 5 days a week at the gym for an hour. On the other 2 days, I do abs and stretching combined with a foam rolling routine, which gets me up to that hour on the extra days. And I'd also like to throw in some walking or some cycling, which I do anyway every single day to travel. Now, in terms of the types of exercise you can do, any of those things I mentioned count. You can also include any sort of recreational sports that you may take part in. So swimming, running, rugby, football. I really just forgot sports there for a second, but basically any of those count towards the project, and all you need to do is 1 hour of a combined total of any of these exercises every day, and then that's you done on the exercise front. Now, I know for me, this is something that's quite easy because I've been going to the gym since I was about 15 and I'm now 21, so it's been on and off due to injuries, but for the most part I've been going sort of every week, and this is a routine that's quite stable for me. But I know this is one that most people will struggle with quite a bit, especially if you're just starting out on your self-development journey. So just pay attention to this and don't try and take it too hard every single day. Start nice and light and then work your way up. Moving on to the fifth rule. The fifth thing you're going to need to do in this challenge every single day is spend 1 hour with no distractions, so that focusing on an individual skill of your choice and improving yourself in some way. The idea of this is that across the 50 days of the project, you're going to spend 50 hours working on a set skill. Bear in mind, you can only pick one skill and you work with that one skill throughout the entirety of the challenge, in the hopes that by the end of it, you've put in 50 hours of work, so you'll be a lot better at that skill than you were when you started. So, yeah, this skill could be anything. Like, I personally chose to make my skill YouTube, hence this YouTube video. I've been trying to get the basics of how to film a video. Like, I'm not sure, this video is probably going to be quite low quality because it's the first one that I filmed, but just getting used to the whole process. And hopefully by the end of the 50 days, I will have put out a good amount, I'll be able to put out some good content. And I'll find this a lot easier, and hopefully I'll continue after the 50-day project because that is the plan. But yeah, this is my skill. I know for my girlfriend, she's also doing the challenge. She's chosen to do art, just as something to, like, you know, relax you in between studying sessions, given that we're both students and we work quite a lot. Now, if you find you want to do something more intellectually challenging, you could always take an online course, like maybe teach yourself Excel if you don't know Excel, or learn some coding. There's a lot of different things that you could do. And it really doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's one thing and you stick to it and develop it throughout the whole 50-day period. And when you come to the end, you'll probably find that you are exponentially better at that skill than you were at the start. So that's what I'm hoping is going to happen with these YouTube videos, but you guys can let me know when I let you know that I finished the project, and you can tell me how much better I got from the start. Now, the sixth rule of the 50-day project is quite a simple one. You're going to have to eat healthily every single day. That means, by the rules that they've set out for you, no soft drinks, no alcohol, no fast foods, and no heavily processed foods. This is one of the hardest ones that I've had to do. I have always had quite a dirty diet. I've always eaten a lot of unhealthy foods for calories' sake. As for bulking, I always thought it'd be very difficult to try and bulk somewhere in the region of 3,000 to 3,500 calories a day on quite a limited budget. But I found after taking part in this challenge, it wasn't as difficult as I expected it was going to be. And I was able to change my diet from mainly eating snacks, so like biscuits and chocolates and sweets, and just a lot of unhealthy processed foods, and also getting fast food multiple times a week. I was able to change this out and completely restructure my diet. So now I'm eating a lot more healthy food. All of my food is now home cooked. This might be a difficult one for some people, and it certainly was for me. One thing that you could try and do is just try and make the food you eat at home a lot more interesting. So personally, in this household, we try to have a themed week every single week where we make different cuisines from different countries. So for example, right now we're doing Mexican week. So we're making a lot of Mexican foods, and honestly, it's great to try new foods, and they've all been really tasty so far, and we've been really enjoying it. And I'd say this one is, out of all of the different rules, probably the one that's going to bring you the most benefits, I would say, just because it's such a staple item of healthy being, is to eat healthily. And I know for me, it's probably helped a lot with my skin in terms of reducing like the oiliness and the sweat and all of this. And it's made me feel a lot healthier. I feel a lot more awake during the day, which may also be related to the sleeping part, but is also partly related to diet. I feel like I have a lot more energy in the day and I'm able to get a lot more done that I want to, and I don't feel as held back and sluggish and unmotivated due to the things that I'm eating. And it's nice that I've been able to make this change, and I now understand that it is possible to eat a clean diet even on a very tight budget. And I've moved away from the part of me that used to always say that it was okay for me to eat these bad foods that aren't necessarily the healthiest for you. They're like heavily processed and really high in sugars and fats, and just generally aren't great foods for you to eat. And I've been able to move away from that and start eating a lot more unprocessed foods, fresh meats, vegetables, and replacing takeaways, especially as a university student. Takeaway becomes a sort of staple part of your diet, especially, late nights studying and stuff like this. But due to the other structural changes made throughout this challenge, I've been able to step away from eating all of these takeaways, and now I think throughout this entire challenge I've only been out to eat once, which was to a healthy restaurant. The final rule of this challenge is that every single day in the evening, when you've completed everything else in the day, you must journal. And I know that some people are very averse to journaling. I'm quite indifferent between journaling and not journaling, but taking the time out in the end of the day to get your journal out and write about specifically how you feel and what you've accomplished today in terms of the project, and maybe some other stuff if you feel like adding that in, like what else you got done in the day, and how you're feeling about the challenge. It will give you a record of your progress, so you can read back through it and see where you're struggling on these days, but overall you will see your improvement and you will see what you felt on every single day. And hopefully, if the challenge works out, which it is for me, so I would assume that this is the case for most people that stick to it sort of rigidly, you will see over time that you will simply just feel better and better, and you'll be getting stronger, you'll be getting fitter, you'll feel healthier, you'll be cleaner, you'll be more motivated, more productive. And the journal basically acts as a record for this. Now, for those of you that don't like writing, this does not have to be a case where you buy a writing journal and you force yourself to write every evening. If that's not your thing, then that's not your thing. There is no reason why you can't voice journal, so you can't record a voice note every evening about what's been going on for you and how the challenge has been. Or you could even film, if you're big on social media and you like to share things with your followers and stuff like that. You can't film a short, like a TikTok video or an Instagram story, just demonstrating what you've gotten done in the day, and have that as like a record, another kind of record, a visual record and an audio record of what's been going on in your day. So essentially this project covers all the basics that you need for self-development and self-improvement, and I would highly recommend it to anyone, whether you've just started out with your self-development journey, or if you're a seasoned vet and you've been doing this for ages but you want something to sort of spice up your life a bit and keep it interesting. It is a difficult challenge. I'm not going to sort of say to you that it's easy. It's definitely been challenging, especially for me, personally at least, because that's the only experience I can really talk from. There are some days where you just don't feel like doing anything. But the motivation of, if you quit one thing for one day, you have to start all the way back at day one. It keeps you going through those difficult points, and it helps you build that resilience and that determination and the self-motivation to carry yourself through an extended period project and work on yourself day to day and build those habits that will hopefully stick with you for the rest of your time after the project and keep you moving forwards on your self-development journey.